Wow.
Okay, so my grady topic is about superheroes compared to mythology and fairy tale stories. I'll start with DMing. So I love DMing and role-playing because you can create your own stories and create your own characters in those stories. Pretty much, I paint my own worlds. So in these worlds, a lot of my stories are based off of superhero stories. And one character I really want to put into my role-playing stories is Mxyzptlk. Mxyzptlk is from the DC universe, so that's Superman and Batman. And he's omnipotent. That means he can do whatever he wants with a snap of his fingers. And what he chooses to do with this power is he goes to Superman in Metropolis and creates random problems for him to solve and laughs at them. I really like characters like that. There are also a lot more than just Mxyzptlk that act like this. All of these characters are based off of trickster characters. And a trickster character is a mischievous person who gets what they want through trickery. Some examples of trickster characters would be Loki, and I'm not talking about Loki from Marvel. I'm talking about the Loki from Norse mythology, who was actually a giant who played tricks on gods and goddesses just to get a laugh. And after he'd play pranks on them, he'd go in and pretend to be the hero of those pranks that he'd set. Another example of a trickster character would be Rumpelstiltskin. And speaking of Rumpelstiltskin, Mxyzptlk is based off of Rumpelstiltskin, with his complicated name and how you defeat him. How you get rid of Rumpelstiltskin is you would have to guess his complicated name, and the only way to beat Mxyzptlk is to trick him to say his name backwards, Kiltipzixum. Getting an omnipotent person to say their name backwards is, of course, really difficult, and that's what the point of trickster characters are. They challenge the main character of doing something different to defeat them. And here would be an example of that. In this scene, Mxyzptlk is mad at Superman. He is chasing him around as a nuclear warhead with a kryptonite tip, and Superman is just trying to get away.
Yours.
Oh, shoot my monkey. I skywrote my own name. Backwards.
Twice?
You were just toying with me the whole time. Even from the start.
Pretty much, yeah.
Then I had you fooled for a second.
Sorry.
You were the superior being all along.
Well.
And now I'm gone. Gone forever.
So yeah, you have to try really hard to beat these trickster characters. Now, trickster characters, of course, challenge these main characters, and I go back to role-playing. Why would I want one of these trickster characters inside of my games? Well, for me, it's really fun to play as them. It really can piss off the players, but also it challenges the players to think outside the box to beat these characters, and it makes the game completely unpredictable. This is just one of these characters that I have found based on mythology or fairy tales, and I want to look for more in my Grady, and that could also really help me out making characters in my games. And that's all.
Mm. Sweet. Questions for Drew?
What are you arguing?
My argument is that superhero stories were based off of fairy tales and mythology stories.
That's dope, dude.
All right, any other questions for Drew? Really? Nothing else for Drew?